Okay, all right. Hello, everyone. This is Jeff in Syracuse. I did a video the other day about the Great Resignation and how it is playing itself out here in a post-COVID, post, government intervention into our economy. And so I wanted to follow up with a quick video of where I think the economy is headed here in 2022 as we go into 2023. And you're probably wondering why I've got a picture like this up. So, like with this would be time, okay, and this would be time going forward. And I want to kind of just correlate what happened going back to March 2020 with, COVID, massive unemployment, massive stimulus, and how that may relate to this dampening curve here that we see as things oscillate. So let's kind of get into this and we'll keep coming back to this. All right, so here is, if you look at the Federal Reserve and the liquidity that it has pumped into the U.S. economy here over the last couple of years. As you could see, the great crash back here in 2008, 2009, the Great Recession. The Fed started doing asset purchases and pumping money into the economy. And, it basically went from under 1 trillion up to, 4 trillion, through the decade. And now with COVID, it has pumped, really, see, this took 10 years. This took basically a year and a half with going from 4 trillion to 8 trillion. So, what does that mean, right? With time going forward and us, participate in the economy, what does all that money in the economy do? It's energy, right? It's fuel. Okay, so if we couldn't get it from businesses producing, pulling stuff out of the earth, making things, people going to work, then the Fed was going to do what it did, and it pumped a bunch of money out there. Okay, and when I say pumped a bunch of money, made money really cheap for corporations to continue to be liquid. But then, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we have taken consideration of all this energy that entered the system, right? So if we look, I found this CBS 58 out of Milwaukee. So it's a nice article from last summer. And it just, basically it's asking, that 4 trillion, or basically 6 trillion, if you look at the swaps, where did the government spend the money on? Okay. So we have 1 trillion to small businesses. Okay, 1 trillion with the paycheck protection program, stimulus checks. Okay, so this is businesses. This is stimulus or stimmy to directly to the American people. Unemployment benefits, enhanced unemployment benefits. Another half a trillion there. Healthcare spending. A third of a trillion. Quarter of a trillion, state, city, locals. You could see this all adds up. K through 12 in colleges, loan forgiveness, all that stuff. Boom, here it all comes. Airline industry, we needed that. Renters and homeowners. It just pushed all this money in. Now, the nice effect of this, going back to here, is the money had to go somewhere, right? Went into our pockets. We were able to buy. People were able to save more than they ever have, giving themselves cushion, emergency funds. Many of the people below the poverty line actually had more liquidity than they've ever had in their life in this country. So it was actually really good from an economic standpoint and a personal standpoint. It was very good for the American taxpayer and citizen to be liquid during this whole period. Okay, but that liquidity is energy, right? Okay, so let's look at this. Here's energy up, okay? And then if we look at unemployment, so as unemployment shot up, okay, then federally stimulated money through all those channels shot in, and then just as fast as unemployment went up, unemployment came flying down, okay? So if we go back to our oscillation, so you can see this, okay? Anything in life that has energy being pushed into it, and if it's left to its own devices, okay, it's going to naturally oscillate along a central line, or what we call the central limit theorem. Okay, so it's going to bounce around this over time. Now, I don't know what this time frame is, but I do know that if you shoot this much energy up, you're going to, when you come back down, you're probably going to overshoot this line. And then you're going to realize you were too fast. You were a speeding car coming down this, and you're trying to adjust. And then, you don't want to stop where it causes problems. You're trying to come in for a nice soft landing. And you want to do this in a time period that doesn't hurt all the persons in the economy, that all of this stimulus was meant to help. You don't want to just delay the pain. You want to make it easier to survive in an economy like this, and then slowly wind out of it. Okay, so I think that's the big worry I have for 2022 into 2023. If we come back to here with all that stimulus in the system, everything, all facets of the economy, airlines, businesses, personal, all being just flooded with liquidity, savings rates higher than they ever been. And now suddenly that's all gone in 2022. Everything I mentioned here is winding up. There's just not a lot of federal stimulus money at this point. And what we would expect to see is coming to next year, this should start to go flat and down, just like it did here. As the economy got better, at least went flat. They quit the asset purchases so that they could at least maintain an even strain. Okay, so that's going to happen here in 2022 and into 2023. All that energy, that money is being pulled out of the economy pretty much at one time. We're not slowly phasing those out. They're just done. Okay, so what does that mean? Along with 4 Fed rate hikes that Goldman Sachs is calling for in 2022. That means that the economy could get really tricky. Okay, all this inflation we're talking about, it could, I'm not saying it will, but it could fall right off a cliff if suddenly people pull back because they don't see the stimulus check. Businesses don't have the PPP to hold employees. So we may have inflation and the labor shortage end together very quickly. Okay, if jobs start going away and people don't have the money to cushion themselves or not go into their savings, you could see demand for goods and services go down and demand for jobs up, which is exactly the opposite of what we have today. All because of all this energy coming out of the economy all at the same time. Okay, so that's why again, this is my opinion. It's for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an economist. I'm just a businessman who's been working about over 3 decades, watching my customers' capital expenditures, their capex, and seeing what they're doing. And with all this coming out, and all these employers, not under PPP, which means they don't have to hold their employee base, we need to be careful, and we need to keep our eye on the ball as we go through 2022. So, always stay informed, be aware of what's going on around you, and as I get more information like this, as I see it, I will publish it. All right, everybody, have a good day.